Hi everyone, this is Miss Peer Editor, and today we are decoding the SAT Humanities or Social Science passage in the reading portion of the exam using step-by-step annotations. Before we jump in, be sure to subscribe to my channel and check out my Medium, TikTok, and Instagram pages with my handle @MissPeerEditor for more helpful content. Here's the first part of the reading passage. Please pause this video now and read it over. Okay, let's begin. This piece was published in 1938, so we have to approach this passage knowing that the views expressed in the piece are shaped by the historical context of that time period, which is the first half of the 20th century. The small description before the passage indicates that the topic of this piece will be the situation of women in English society. It's a good practice to write down the purpose of each paragraph because many multiple choice questions on the SAT and other exams focus on that. So the purpose of this first paragraph is to set the scene for women to reflect on the central topic. And although the SAT doesn't usually ask test takers to identify specific literary or rhetorical devices, we are going to analyze these devices to help us understand the passage better. The author starts painting a picture of a bridge over the River Thames so that the reader can visualize themselves standing there and thinking. This highlighted section is an example of imagery that describes transportation, since the author mentions barges, as well as agriculture and the government, since the author points out Westminster and Parliament, which is the British legislative body. This imagery creates a picture of a city bustling with different industries. Right after, the author repeats the word now to create an urgent tone. Maybe the reader thinks they can sit back and relax on this bridge in their imagination, but the author is telling the reader, not so fast. We have to pay attention to this procession of the sons of educated men, which the author will expand upon further. The second paragraph, which is really long, is meant to inspire women to start participating in male-dominated institutions. Using parallelism or a repetitive grammatical structure, the author lists the professions that educated men have in different subject areas. These men are doctors, judges, preachers, bankers, teachers, and more. Then the author uses a simile to compare the procession of men to a caravanserai. The word caravanserai actually means a roadside inn where travelers can rest, but Virginia Woolf, the author, probably means a caravan in this case, or a group of people who are journeying through a desert. Later, the author uses the analogy of people admiring a piece of artwork to imply that women in the past have observed the procession of educated men passively and from a distance. However, the phrase, "we go ourselves," signals a transition to an active approach. This highlighted portion shows that women who are sequestered or isolated at home have these feelings of longing and exclusion because they too wish to have the opportunities that men have. It's also important to note that the author uses the pronoun we to express solidarity and community with other women. By saying we, the author includes herself in this group and suggests that she and her readers have traits in common. This underlined portion refers once again to the activities reserved for men, and she repeats a lot of those activities, such as making money and administering justice, that we saw at the very beginning of the paragraph. This is meant to empower women to take ownership of those activities. The author adds some humorous commentary when she suggests that women can dress similarly to men by wearing military uniforms and outfits that might look a little odd or unfashionable in the context of a household where women in this time period usually are a lot of the time. When the author writes, "We have worn private clothes so long," she is using clothes to symbolize traditional gender roles. Even today, a lot of people dress a certain way at home and put on different clothes when they go out. In this passage, this outfit change is meant to represent the shift between women's role as homemakers to new roles in the professional world. But Woolf doesn't want to linger on the topic of clothes for long. She soon urges the reader to pay close attention to what she says when she states that we have to ask ourselves very important questions. Here is the remaining portion of the passage. Please pause this video now to read it over. Okay, let's resume our analysis. The phrase moment of transition explicitly states that the present moment, or the time in which the passage was written, is a turning point. The author lists several questions that she wants the reader to ask themselves, and these questions will have long-lasting impacts. She wants women to deliberate the conditions in which they will join these male-dominated industries and ask what their overall goal is. Soon after, the author anticipates potential objections from women who might say they're too busy to think about this topic. When the author writes, "That excuse shall not serve you, madam," she is directly holding the reader accountable. In the next sentence, Woolf contrasts men's formal education with women's informal one, noting that women think while they're cooking and taking care of children. These images are meant to underscore women's tenacity. Even though they have all of these responsibilities at home, they're still determined to fight for their rights. The next sentence explains the result of women's thinking. Because they thought and organized, women obtained higher wages and more financial independence. The sixpence, or a coin, is a symbol of opportunity. With the resources that women now have, they have the opportunity to achieve even more. The author repeats the phrase "let us think" to issue a call to action for women to reflect on their ambitions and what the future might hold for women in the professional world. The last few questions refer back to the original image of the procession of men connecting the beginning and end of the passage. Let's sum up some key aspects of this passage. In terms of the structure, we have one short paragraph and another really long paragraph. The first one sets the scene, and the second advocates for women's inclusion in the professional workforce. Our main characters are educated men and educated women who occupy different roles in society due to norms and traditions. The message of this passage is that educated women must reflect on their role in traditionally male-dominated institutions. The purpose is to underscore the importance and urgency of including educated women in the professional world. This passage has a unique setting, which is the bridge over the River Thames in England, and this bridge overlooks a city bustling with activity. The audience of this piece is educated women, and the author speaks to these women directly. Some literary and rhetorical strategies include comparisons in the form of a simile and analogy, contrast, imagery, repetition, rhetorical questions, and symbolism. All of these strategies are intended to persuade the reader that the issues raised in the passage are worthy of further contemplation and action. Thanks so much for watching. In the comments, let me know what video topic you want to see next. Check out the description for helpful links, and remember to subscribe and tap the bell to receive notifications whenever I post a new video. I'll see you next time.